Now, to give us some insight to how Migrante benefits and protects migrant workers from the Philippines, I'd like to invite Hessed Torres to share with us the kind of support she's received from Migrante BC. Hessed, are you around? Yeah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Hessed, and I am a volunteer community organizer for Migrante BC. I came to Canada under the Live-In Caregiver program in September of 2014, hoping for a bright future. I was one of the many unemployed registered nurses back home who had their eyes set on employment abroad. I was lucky enough to find an employer who didn't mind hiring someone straight from the Philippines. When I arrived here, I had no idea what was waiting for me. I remember my first day of work. I was still jet lagged from my flight a day ago, but I had to start work at 5 o'clock in the morning since my employer had to be in a hospital for a minor surgery. It was no big deal then. Little did I know that reality was about to kick in. As the days turned into weeks, I noticed a certain pattern in my employment: long unpaid hours, undefined break periods, and overlapping responsibilities beyond employment contract, just to name a few. From the get-go, I was expecting to care for a person with multiple sclerosis and assist in his daily living, but by the end of my 4th month, it felt like I was doing the work of 4 people, including exercises that only a licensed kinesthesiologist should provide. I also found out that I was the 3rd caregiver they had hired, and none of them lasted for more than a month in that home. I was told that the 1st caregiver was fired because he was a stupid idiot, and the 2nd caregiver left without notice. These things started to sink into me each day until I found myself being questioned for my ability to understand the political and economic books I took interest in reading while I hung out in the kitchen, waiting for the tasks to be given to me. Books were my escape, my company, in a very isolating situation. It was not until March 8, 2015, exactly on International Women's Day, that I realized I was truly burned out. I was left to care for a very sick person for 2 weeks straight without a reliever because my employer's wife went on vacation, and I was made to stay at their home, working from morning, noon, till night. It was during these times that I had already been introduced to Migrante BC by a family friend in Manila that had a sister in this organization. Migrante welcomed me and referred me to a volunteer lawyer who assessed my situation and drafted a letter to address all the employment issues I needed to discuss with my employer. It took me 2 weeks to have the guts to hand him the letter, afraid that the bargaining power in the house was very unequal. I gave it to them nonetheless. The very next day, I received my termination letter stating that I was being fired for failing to get my driver's license. On that same day, a Migrante volunteer picked me up from my employer's house. It was probably one of the best days in my life in Canada. And although I knew I had to sleep temporarily in the living room, those were the most peaceful and restful evenings I've had since arriving here. I won't forget that day. It was a day I realized there was so much work that had to be done because my story is not at all special. My story is a shared story between other caregivers living and working here in Canada, and it rings true for all other migrant workers under the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. Other realizations came afterward, one of them being that the socioeconomic and sociopolitical unrest in my country forces so many overseas Filipino workers into vulnerability and precariousness. But among the complexities of politics and economics, I realized the most basic yet important truths, which are reflected in the experiences of migrant workers all around us. When a patient back home needs me to manually compute for the titration rate of a potassium drip, I am here, readily available to help you clean your washroom. When my mom needs me to accompany her to a cardiologist, I am here, lovingly caring for your mom. When my sister wants to spend time cooking with me, I am here willingly cooking your meals. While you're off to work for the day, I am here changing your son's diapers. I am here walking your pet, pushing your daughter's stroller through the park. I am here taking your kids to their play dates and helping your elderly cross the street. I am here in your home, doing my best to keep the household running when you are running your big errands. When my daughter is hospitalized and needing me to read her a good story, I am here reading your child your favorite book. When my daughter wanted me to see her on her first day of school, I was here caring for yours. You know, and I know that I am here. I exist. But if you see any value in the work that I do for you and for your loved ones, will you let me stay here? Will you let me stay here?